So this week's composite is actually from pictures that I took, and basically my idea was to have a cherry Coke bottle pouring liquid, but instead of using normal gravity, the Coke would be going up instead of down. So I used 4 images for this composite. The first was just a color checker for my white balance, so the colors would be correct and the same as if I was actually looking at it in real life. The second was the position of the bottle itself, and then my hand holding it. The third was the pour of the Coke from the bottle that I turned upside down. And the fourth was 2 different kinds of cherries that I hung up with fishing wire. So the first thing I did in Lightroom was set the white balance from my color checker image. Then I started editing the second image, which was my bottle image, to the colors and saturation that I wanted for my image. Then I copied the settings and pasted them to the other images so everything would match. Then I opened the bottle image in Photoshop because it is my main and bottom layer, and then I ran my frequency separation action and cleaned up all of the highlights on the bottle because they are very distracting. Then I made the canvas bigger and used one of my Dutch Bros images as a reference for the size because I used the same camera and it was vertical, which is what my composite is going to be. After that, I added my pour image and lined it up with the bottle and masked away everything except the liquid. Then once I had the liquid that I was going to use, I got rid of the regular Coke pour because I didn't need it anymore, and then I also cleaned up the background so it was all one solid color. Next, I started playing around with the background color. At first, I wanted it to be the exact same maroon color on the bottle, but that was too dark and I didn't like it. So I just kept playing around with the hue saturation until I settled on a lighter maroon color that I think works a lot better. Then since I changed the background with a somewhat see-through object as my main subject, I had to go in and paint in my hue saturation adjustment to parts of the bottle where the old background was still showing. And then I also cleaned up my background more because you could see some of my brush strokes I did when I was making it a solid color. I also did some more cleaning up on the bottle and got rid of some bubbles that were on the inside of the bottle from where the Coke used to be. Then I also rotated everything a bit so the bottle wouldn't be on an angle so much and just be straighter. After that, I started adding the cherries, and between the 2 different types of cherries that I shot, I ended up going with the darker ones because they just fit better. I did also lighten the Coke in the bottle so it wouldn't be as dark, but that didn't work so well, and what I probably should have done in studio was just have a low-powered backlight to shine through the bottle instead, which would have easily lightened up the Coke. After that, I filled in the background with the clone stamp where it was still transparent from when I made the canvas bigger. I did also try to darken my arm a bit because it's just so white and reflective, but I couldn't go as dark as I wanted to while still making it realistic. Then the last thing I did was crop in a bit to try and get rid of all the negative space on the bottom. And here is the final result. So I think the image turned out great. It's definitely a good feeling when you plan something from the start and it turns out just like you want it, but it wasn't that hard of a composite. I did somewhat take my time with it because I did use a face camera and you just get so much detail with them. I thought it would just be best to make sure everything is perfect instead of rushing it.